A very pleasant afternoon to you out there. Thank you for joining us on another edition of the program Nigeria Now on ECWA Television International. We are live on Facebook and YouTube at ECWA Television International, and we are glad you could join us. Do well to drop your comments on the topic that we're going to be discussing, which has to do with the 2023 supplementary election that held on Saturday, the 15th of April, 2023, talking about the Adamawa supplementary elections as well as the saga reactions to all of that. My name is Joyce Jakada. I'm not doing this alone. I have Sele Elisha Dasham. Good afternoon, Sele.
Good afternoon, Joy.
How are you doing?
I'm great, thank you.
Good to have you. So let's talk about the 2023 supplementary election. Of course, last week we talked about the fact that on Saturday, supplementary election in Kebbi as well as Adamawa State is going to be conducted, and how that different stakeholders have come out to call on the people to be peaceful while voting competence, capability, as well as good track record, antecedent, among others. And we saw how that Nigerians, citizens are up and about their senatorial seat as well as state constituency too that were going to be voted in, and the likes of Aminu Tambuwal actually got senatorial seats, and people were having high expectations. And again, Adamawa state governorship election was declared null and void by INEC due to the actions and inactions of some people. You recall that the Saturday's election held, and then results were being collated. 10 out of 20 local governments was announced, and from the 10 out of the 10, we saw how that the incumbent governor, talking about Umar Fintiri, was leading the APC candidate with over 30,000 votes, and that was when the coalition was suspended and to be continued 11 a.m. and just then the wreck, Yunus Abadu, just from nowhere came and declared Binani winner of the governorship election. That generated a lot of reaction. How can a wreck resident electoral commissioner like announce results? A lot of reactions. Let me hear your take.
You know, Joyce, when the whole saga, the whole suspense, the whole drama that took place in Adamawa, actually, you know, I was shocked. Because if you and I will recall that the 2023 election started from the presidential election down to even the gubernatorial election, which was on March 18, we saw where the election were marred by vote buying, we saw voter suppression, we saw the likes of voter apathy, because especially during the governorship and state house assembly, because we saw, of course, people felt that their mandate was not what was given to them during the presidential election. And I was looking forward to the supplementary election should be a time of redemption, because this is a time where INEC is supposed to write their name in gold. This is a time where INEC is to rectify their wrongs, because you know, it was shocking, because we were wondering that during the presidential election, the RF was working well, but then when it came to the presidential election, they were unable to upload it. And then when we came to the governorship election, saw everything going perfectly well. Of course, even during the supplementary election, everything went well, just like you said. We saw stakeholders coming out to, you know, tell, you know, them to conduct themselves peacefully, just go play your part, and then at the end of the day, we'll see that whatever it is, your mandate will definitely, you know, show at the end of the day. And whole and behold, just when the coalition was being suspended from 1 a.m. and then they were supposed to resume by 11 a.m. and then we saw the REC officer going to announce the result. Now, what shocked me, Joyce, was the audacity and also the guts he had to sit down. Number one, there was no data, no facts, nothing whatsoever. You're just declaring a result without that. Secondly, it is not even your rule whatsoever. I don't know what legal right he had to actually go, you know, ahead with announcing the result. And even when he was being cautioned that this is not the right thing to be done. And then what shocked me further just was the fact that there were security agencies that were sitting by his side, and then before finally he told them to go. Now, this has a lot to tell about our system as a country. We've always said that this election is a time where we are supposed to show to other African countries that we are capable of doing it. We keep emphasizing what the INEC chairman said, where he said that conducting election in Nigeria is like conducting the whole of Africa. So let's take a look at the population of the people of Adamawa. and then let's take a look at maybe we will equal it to maybe one of the countries in Africa because of our population in Nigeria. So I think that yes, of course, INEC have actually called all of those REC officers back to Abuja, and also together with the REC of Adamawa, and then possibilities that he might actually be facing 36 months imprisonment. But then we have to go beyond that, because we do not rectify this wrong. We're giving room to more things, taking place. We're giving room to more corruption, because this is just a clear showing of corruption, because it will be expected that, because when people were saying that the INEC chairman did not say the right thing, you cannot actually, if you don't have your facts and figure, he had the paper he was using, so if you said it was wrecked, you have to go and bring your facts. But this is clearly showing that something is wrong, because you had no paper whatsoever, and you were declaring the result. Under what will I say, under what grounds do you have to do that? So I think it's high time that we begin to call out people that are not acting out as expected, for them to know what they're supposed to do, because we're saying that we just want a country where everything is working. We just want a system where everything is functioning as it should be. You have done your own role. It's high time for you to step back and let the returning and collation officers do their responsibility. But then we saw you as a REC officer taking over under what ground. So I hope that the right thing will be done, because we are trusting the system to do the right thing. We hope that this will not be one of those cases where we see that this case will be swept under the carpet. We hope that we'll be following, because Nigerians are watching. Other countries are watching. We saw where people were coming out to talk about the presidential election, saying that a lot is not happening. People are beginning to say they're even losing confidence, even in the Supreme Court. But we are hoping that INEC will do the right thing. Of course, they do not have the go ahead to persecute offenders, but we hope that the right authority will do what is expected of them to do this, because this is really shameful, and we are not expecting to hear such. Of course, the result has been suspended, coalition of result has been suspended, but we hope that the right thing will be done, because this is a time where INEC, they have a last chance. Joyce, they have the last chance, especially the INEC chairman, to do something right, because once he stepped down, this is what prosperity will remember him for from years after. So I hope that they will do the right thing from now henceforth.
Sela Elisha, to say I feel shame for what happened is an understatement, because going by all that played out during the presidential election as well as governorship election in about 26 states, you will expect that, lessons have been learned. In fact, the conversation lately has been about the election, the post-elections analysis. People have been talking and all of that. So you will expect that people must have learned lesson. You will expect that, since it's just Adamawa State and Kebbi State, so we don't have any excuse not to get it right. Of course, after the presidential election, we saw how that lessons were learned, because issues like the Beavers failures, among others, late coming of INEC officials to polling unit was highly talked about during the presidential election. And during the governorship election, we saw how that at some of the polling units, as early as 7 INEC officials were already on ground. We didn't hear much issues about Beavers failures and all of that. Now, coming down to Adamawa and Kebbi supplementary election, you will expect that, those issues that were also raised, that challenges during the governorship election, that even led to the result being declared inconclusive, lessons must have been learned, and we'll see just a smooth, transparent process and all of that. But for you to have a resident electoral commissioner of a state coming out to announce result where collation is not concluded, just 10 out of 20 local government was declared. And from the 10, we saw how that the incumbent governor, Umaru Fintiri, was leading with about 7, and then Aisha Binani was leading with barely 3, and then coming out to announce on what ground constitutionally is wrong, because we saw how the constitution, INEC electoral act, gave only the returning officer the right to do that, and you're coming out to announce or declare a winner with what facts, with what figures? You asked the question earlier on, and that's why I would like to align myself with what the SDP governorship candidate is saying. This is a dance of shame. Like, I'm just beginning to think about how the international body is looking at us right now, even though the sitting governor has called on for calm, which is really recommendable. He called for calm because you expect that at this point now supporters, aggrieved Nigerian citizens will begin to tour the street and do or begin to cause chaos and all of that, fight and amongst many others. But I like the fact that him now being the victim has come out to calm and the people. Like it's so uncalled for. Why would a state resident electoral commissioner go out there and announce results when collation was not done? I like the swift response of INEC in this case right now, because immediately we saw how they sent jet to Adamawa State to bring the reg to come and other people that were there to come and answer questions. Securities were there when this announcement was made, and you asked, weren't there orientation? Do they not know about the law and what the law states? How can we have that? I was asking myself, under what influence is the reg acting? Could it be drug? Could it be money, or what? Because this is not your responsibility, number one. Secondly, you don't have any data or fact. Third, collation was still ongoing, and then collation was not done, and then you just go ahead and then announce result. Of course, just like other Nigerians will say, definitely you must have done that under like a particular influence, and that is what Nigerians want to know right now, because it's so uncalled for. This is like a blunt disregard for Constitution, the 1999 Constitution. It is a disregard for the Electoral Act. It is a disregard for the sensibility of Nigerians and INEC guidelines as well, because INEC have guidelines to conducting election down to the announcement of election. But for an individual that is supposed to be like working with the Constitution, I expect to know all the provisions, the guidelines, and all of that coming to acting that way, I think is unacceptable. And this is the time when Nigerians will want to see the law taking its full course. Like, we already have a polity that is volatile. We've had history of election volatility. Like in 1964, about 200 people died. Why? Because after the announcement of the result, they felt, no, it was announced in favor of some party, like the election was rigged, and that's why we had about 200 people died. Sele in 1993, 100 people lost their lives because they felt, oh, this election was also rigged. We have history of election volatility, and so you wouldn't expect that somebody that knows the law, that knows the Constitution, will go against it. Now, in 1999, again, about 80 people died still after election. And because they felt that, oh, this election was not transparent, this election was rigged. In 2003, 100 people died. In 2009, 2007, 300 people died. In 2011, that was when we had the highest number. About 800 people lost their lives because they also felt that, oh, this election was not transparent, this election was rigged. Going down to 2015, about 100 people died. In 2019, 150 people died. And this 2023 election, with the 6 people that died during the weekend, we have 34 in total. These have shown history of election volatility. And you will expect that if this Yunusa, the rest of the Electoral Commissioner, knows that, oh, Nigeria is a volatile country, like, you don't insult the sensitivity of people by going against the law. Like, how on earth in 2023, in the 21st century, elections, like a supplementary election, will be conducted in that manner, and then you having the governor-elect in his announcement coming out to give acceptance speech. Like, you begin to ask yourself so many questions. Is this like some scripted document? Is this like some drama or some movie or what? Like, how can you have that happening in the 21st century? Like, it's unacceptable. It's so unacceptable. I expect, like I said earlier on, I like the fact that INEC swiftly respond to that. But beyond that, we want to see the law taking its full course. When you ask me, Aisha Binani is a woman, and you want to, everybody will be like, oh, just like me, you want, oh, a woman becoming the governor, like the only woman now emerging as the governor. But what's the process that will bring you in? Everybody wants, if you must be called your excellency, let the process that will bring you be excellent. No, that I am a woman, I wish that a woman emerge. I wouldn't want a process that will bring the woman to be a faulty process, because you won't get the respect, you won't get the collaboration, you will just be seen as a joke. So I think the needful must be done. Like, so far from the collation, like I said, Umaru Fintiri had like scored for was declared winner in about 7 local governments, and that local government include Damsa, Lamodei, Jada, Ganya, and then Son. And she won in Yola North as well as Yola South. And then when you go by the margin, Umaru Fintiri was leading with over 31,249 votes. Binani had 390,000 votes, while he had 421,000 votes. And when you check the margin, it's over 30,000, but 31,249 votes. So how can you just wake up and just go without any fact figure, nothing, and just declare somebody a winner? As we speak right now, investigation is already ongoing because some people are alleging that, oh, the REC was giving about 200 billion naira to do that. And even though some of the security were denying some allegations that they were part of it and all of that, but the declaration was made before the securities, and that's why I asked about orientation. These people that we even engage them in conducting this election, are there some form of orientation? Are there some forms of training? No, we can't be doing this. We cannot. Look at how that during the presidential election, people were disappointed. Some Nigerians lost confidence in the whole process. We're talking about the judiciary. We've kept saying, oh, all eyes right now are on the judiciary to ensure that the interests of the people are being protected. But now how can you vote? How can you vouch for the process, for the whole entire system? INEC needs to do a lot. The judiciary too have a lot to do, because you need to restore the confidence of the people. Because if the right thing is not being done, Nigerians will assume, oh, it means that the whole process, like many other people out there are saying, is flooded with irregularity. Like the SDP candidate say, it's just a dance of shame. This will undermine our democracy. This will make us look like a joke before the international body. A lot of people had hopes on Nigerians getting it right as one of the African country that other African countries are looking up to. Because they felt if Nigerians get it right this time around, oh, other people will have hope of getting it right. But with this kind of conduct, again, the election has been declared null and void, even though we are seeing one of the Centurial candidates in Centurial senator in Adamawa State, the APC candidate, Ishaku Abo, saying that, oh, this election, INEC doesn't have the right to declare it null and void. The election was peaceful. It was just, like I was asking myself a question, at what point?
That is based on INEC. INEC can come out and tell Nigerians that this is how the election was. But it's left for Nigerians to know. That's why I told you, Joyce, that I'm excited that Nigerians are no longer quiet. We now know we now know our rights. We now know the power of followership. I keep saying that leaders should always remember that you're there to serve. And it's obvious from what the REC officer did that the election has now become a do or die affair. Because if you're trying to, make sure that you call the APC candidate the winner, there seems to be a foul play somewhere, because he wasn't even looking remorseful. He looked like he had a backing somewhere, Joyce. That was what was actually, that was my shock, because he looked like he actually had people that were rightly behind him. For the security officers that were there with him to be so calm and quiet, and even when he was being challenged and won, he kept, acting so, I don't care, like whatever you're going to do, you should do. But I just hope that we should realize that it's a matter of time. And even though, just like you said, was orientation not done? For Christ's sake, Joyce, a REC officer do not know his responsibility, where he just called overnight to come and do this. So I'm just hoping that, just like we said, you said a woman, of course, we are women, we want to see a woman, but just like you see, let the process that got you there be right, so that at the end of the day, we can beat our chest. And the time when women are advocating for mercy, they want their voice to be heard. Let it be that a woman got to that position the right way, and not because somebody somewhere actually, maneuvered her way into that place. That is not what we want. I know, just like looking at the banner that was behind him, where INEC said that making your votes count, consolidating our democracy, you begin to ask, how do we want to do that? How are we going to do that when we begin to see things working the way it's not supposed to be done? So people of the opinion that, okay, let's take a look at during the collation of the presidential election, even when the INEC champ was being challenged, that we want to see this result being displayed electronically, and he kept shutting people down, not giving room to any adjustment. Like, there was nothing wrong for you saying, we failed in this way, we want to do this. And then it even break my heart for the last week, where we saw in the paper INEC telling us that displaying result electronically money is not mandatory, beginning to make Nigerians look like jokers to you, because we know what we heard. We have our figures, we have our facts, we have our data, we have our document, we save all of this. And so, Joyce, when you begin to see things flow, you know that there have been some loopholes somewhere, and I just hope that we'll be able to fix whatever the problem is along the line. If it's starting from the chairman himself, then let us have a way of, you know, purifying the entire system. Just like I said, this should be a time where we'll have redemption. It's a redemption season. We're all looking forward to getting it right. Africa were looking up to us. The whole world was looking at Nigeria. We can't be a joke. No wonder we saw the likes of Chimamanda saying that she's even disappointed at the governor of US saying that he's congratulating. Congratulating who? Let's take a look at the whole system. Nigerians cannot be quiet for so long, and we are over here to be like the watchdog of the society. Where we see things not going right, we call it out and say these things are not done right, because we want to hold you accountable. So at the end of the day, you do the right thing. When you're stepping down, you know that whatever you did, this is, you're leaving a legacy of justice, you're leaving a legacy of fairness. Nigerians felt disrespected by this whole process, especially looking at the Adamawa. You're beginning to undermine our intelligence. That is what it looks like. So we hope that INEC will actually seriously, just like I said, this shouldn't be one of those cases that will be swept under the carpet. But whatever it is should serve as a lesson to whoever is planning to play any foul play. This is just one we know because it was there. How many more can we tell that was not actually shown to us?
So like, this action is highly condemnable. Like, you can just liken this to a civilian coup. Because how can you suspend, how can coalition be suspended as somebody will just come in and announce result without any fact or figures? Is highly condemnable, because it will just go a long way by in undermining our democracy, undermining the constitution, undermining the electoral act, as well as the sensitivity of Nigerians. And that is why this should not be allowed to just go down like that or be swept under the carpet. Like, we shouldn't always allow emotions to lead us. Like, I've seen how that some politicians, some figures have made elections to be like do or die affairs, and that's why they go all out to do whatever they want to do, just as far as it suits them. They don't care about what the masses think. But I think this is not something that we should just fold our hands to. Like I said, I like the fact that INEC swiftly responded to that, saying that, oh, this is just usurping the position of the returning officer. And I think it's not something that should be taken lightly, because there's a provision in the Electoral Act that anybody that contravenes the law must face the punishment, even though we know that INEC doesn't really have the power to remove the rec, because it's only the president that has that power. Sometimes I wonder what sort of law is that one, because this individual contravened even the Electoral Act, but the only power that INEC has is just to punish this individual. It is only the president that has the right to remove him, and the president has like barely 43 days. You begin to ask yourself question, would he within these 43 days take any actions? I think this is an action or an attitude that must be addressed immediately, so that it will serve as deterrent to other people that have been doing that or are engaging or are planning to engage, because we still have elections in November. And so if we fold our hands and do nothing about this, then we are giving way for more of such actions to take place. So I think even beyond like sending private jets to take them to Abuja to answer questions, the law should take its full course, because you cannot just contravene the law and then just raise tension and just decide to just go away with it. Like, thank God for the governor, the incumbent governor, that has tried to calm the people down. So like, we don't know what would have happened by now in Adamawa State. You get, so a volatile state such as Adamawa, you don't take such actions like that. So I hope that the law will take its full course, and we hope that things like that will not repeat itself. This is more like a joke. Like, it's a joke. Like I said earlier on, to say I feel shame for this, what happened, like, is an understatement. And I hope that we will learn lesson and do the needful. Who are the kind of people we are putting in leadership position? We've all agreed that, oh, one of Nigeria's biggest challenges is leadership. We keep appointing people, electing people based on affiliation, based on emotions, because it's my tribe, it's from my zone, it's from my place. That's how we keep electing people. People that are incompetent, people that don't have the capacity, people that don't have the interest of the nation or the state at heart. Just because the person is from your local government, you appoint him. At the end of the day, he go ahead and help in making the whole process flooded and a waste of time. Look at the money that was wasted from inconclusive, now this declared null and void. This is something that would, why is it that people just want positions like they want it do or die. I thought it's about the people. I thought democracy is a theory that the common man knows what he wants and he deserves to get it. So why is it that you are just bent on putting yourself at all costs? We need to outgrow that system. We will not go anywhere if we continue on that cycle. I've always maintained that Nigeria is a great country, but it is only through justice and integrity. This action does not portray integrity in any way. It is only through justice and integrity that will build this nation. And unless we stand for the truth and allow the rule of law take its full course, if we allow emotion to lead us, we go nowhere. Well, our time is fast spent. Tele, let me hear your final thought before we go.
Well, just like I always say, Joyce, I believe that patriotism is very key in everything we do. So not just to the rec officer, but to every Nigerian, wherever you find whatever position is given onto you, you should just try your best to actually be a patriotic citizen in anything you do and carry out your responsibility duly at the end of the day.
Patriotism is indeed key. Thank you so much for doing this with me. Great analysis as always. To our viewers out there, we really appreciate you for staying with us on Nigeria Now Today. Until we come your way tomorrow, remember that politics is a game of consensus and compromise. When the people say no, let it be no, because democracy is the theory that the common man knows what he wants and deserves to get it real good. You have a great day.